Hello students, welcome to our online video tutorial class. I think you have seen all videos whatever I have made on the chapter Plant Kingdom. So after Plant Kingdom, according to our syllabus, there is a next chapter is coming, that is regarding Animal Kingdom. In this chapter we will be discussing about the various features of the various animals who are belonging from various phylums. We will be studying about special features as well as general features. As we have studied in the Plant Kingdom, the various types of plant divisions, and based on some specific features we have also compared them, we have categorized them. So here also in the Animal Kingdom we will be categorizing the animals based on some specific features. So whatever the features, let's see. First feature is level of body organization, second one is body plan, third one is symmetry, fourth one is coelom, fifth one is germ layer, sixth one is metamerism or segmentation, next one fate of blastopore, and the next circulatory system, and the last one notochord. So based on these all features we are classifying the organisms. So one by one feature we will be discussing now, how we are classifying organisms based on each and every feature. First, you can see there is a feature that is a level of body organization. That means the various levels of the body organization we can see in case of various organisms. So first of all, if you see the porifera or sponge-like organisms, you can understand only the cellular level of body organization we can see here, because the cellular level of the body organization which is commonly found in case of porifera, that is only the cellular aggregate. Porifera is made up of only so many cells, and those cells are not communicating each other. Okay, so that cellular level of body organization can be commonly found in case of porifera. When multiple cells are communicating with each other, they are forming the tissue-like structure, and this specific tissue-like body organization can be found in case of Cnidaria as well as in case of Ctenophora organisms, because they are having tissue, and those tissue are obviously made up of cells, and those cells are communicating with each other. Now when multiple tissues are actually getting communicated with each other, or they are associated with each other and forming the next system or the level of system, that is the organ level of body organization. Keep it in your mind, after Cnidaria and Ctenophora, Platyhelminths, Nematoda, these two organisms are commonly showing organ level of body organization, because they are having organs, and those organs are responsible for performing various kind of activities. Now when various organs are getting accumulated, they are forming various kinds of physiological system. So the last one we can say, last category we can say organ system level of body organization. That means in this type of the body organization, various organs are accumulated with each other and forming physiological systems. So you can consider starting from Annelida, then Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and then entire all organisms of the chordate, they are coming under this organ system level of body organization. So actually we have seen here, based on the level of body organizations, we have categorized the organisms into multiple categories: cellular body organization category, tissue level of body organization category, organ level of body organization category, and organ system level of body organization category. Now we are going for the next feature, that is a body plan. Body plan means, if you see starting from porifera up to Echinodermata, as well as if you see the all organisms present within the phylum Chordata, you will see they are having a specific type of plan in their body. Plan means I am talking about the arrangement or the organization of the body parts or organs. That is actually known as, or commonly known as, body planning. So if you see in case of porifera, you will be seeing the body plan type is cell aggregate body plan. That means porifera is exclusively made up of multiple types of cell. They are only the aggregation, there is no communication in between the cells. So that is commonly known as cellular aggregate body plan, and commonly it is found in case of sponges or in case of porifera, we can say. After porifera, in case of Cnidaria and Ctenophora, we can see the next type of the body plan, and that is the blind sac body plan. What is blind sac body plan? It is actually that in case of this Cnidaria and Ctenophora, you can see the entire body is like a blind sac. There is only one aperture or one opening, and that opening is considered as a mouth, as well as that opening is actually functioning as the anus. So this kind of the body plan is exclusively found for the Cnidaria and Ctenophora, and that is the blind sac body plan. After Ctenophora, starting from the platyhelminths up to Echinodermata, and then all organisms under phylum Chordata, these all organisms are actually showing the body plan, that is the tube within tube body plan. That means their body is first of all tubular, pipe like, and within the pipe or within the tubular body shape there is another tube, that is the alimentary canal. So within the pipe like or tubular body, due to presence of the another pipe like structure, that is the alimentary canal, that's why it is commonly known as tube within tube body plan. And keep it in your mind, in case of this tube within tube body plan, two types of openings are present, one is mouth, another is anus. Okay. Now the next point is regarding the symmetry. What is the symmetry? The arrangement or the organization of the body parts, rather body organs or tissues in a geometric manner around the central axis. So for each and every organism there is a central axis, we all know. So surrounding that central axis there is a presence of multiple body organs, and that arrangement or the organization of the body organs surrounding the central axis is commonly known as the symmetry. Now the point is, whatever the types of body symmetry actually are of three types. One is asymmetrical, second one radial symmetry, and third one bilateral symmetry. What is asymmetrical? Asymmetrical means in case of which organisms there is no symmetry. Those organisms are commonly known as asymmetrical. So keep it in your mind, porifera is the organism or the sponges are the organism which are showing asymmetry in their body. Radial symmetry, this is a type of symmetry which is commonly found in case of spherical or round organisms. In case of these organisms, if you cut the organism along the radius, you will be getting two equal halves. So in case of Cnidaria and in case of Ctenophora, this radial symmetry can be found. Next, there is a presence of bilateral symmetry. What is that? This is a type of symmetry where any organism, if it will be excised in a longitudinal plane, then obviously we will be getting two halves. One is left half, another one is right half. So this kind of the symmetry is commonly known as bilateral symmetry, where the animal body is divided along the longitudinal plane and we will be getting two halves, right and left. So this kind of symmetry can be found starting from platyhelminths, then nematoda, annelida and arthropoda, mollusca and echinodermata, as well as throughout the entire all chordates. This kind of symmetry can be found. So this is the classification of organisms based on the symmetry. Now we are coming for the next point, that is the coelom. What is about the coelom? We all know coelom is a fluid filled body cavity which is present within the mesodermal lining. That means if the cavity which is fluid filled is properly surrounded by the mesodermal lining, then only that cavity is known as coelom. Now based on this presence or absence of the coelom, animals can be categorized into three different categories. What are the categories? First one, acoelomate category. That means in this category we can say those organisms are kept which are not having any coelom or body cavity. So that is totally absent. So these kind of organisms are commonly known as acoelomate organisms. Example, platyhelminths. Not only platyhelminths, porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora and platyhelminths. All these four phylum organisms are belonging from this category, that is platyhelminths. Now after acoelomate there is another category, that is pseudocoelomate. What is pseudocoelomate? Pseudocoelomate means these are the organisms where the body cavity is present but that is not the true body cavity. Why not true? Because the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm, rather it is lined by ectoderm and endoderm, and the body cavities are also present in their body in a scattered pouch form. So for that reason those specific type of coeloms are commonly found. They are known as pseudocoelomate, pseudocoelom, and the organisms are known as pseudocoelomate organisms. Example, obviously nematoda or aschelminths. These kind of organisms are showing the false coelom and that's why they are known as pseudocoelomate. Coming to the last category, that is eucoelomate. Eucoelomate means in case of those organisms who are having the true coelom, they are known as eucoelomate organisms. So what is eucoelom? Eucoelom means when the body cavity is present which is properly filled with the body fluid and that is surrounded by the mesodermal lining. So then this kind of the body cavities are commonly known as eucoelom, and in case of which organisms these eucoeloms are present, automatically they are known as eucoelomate. Starting from Annelida up to the mammal, these all organisms are containing the coelom lined by the mesodermal lining. That's why they are known as eucoelomate. So now just I am showing you the photograph or the images, whatever. This is the acoelomate, you can understand, because this green layer is actually the ectodermal layer. This blue layer is actually the mesodermal layer, and inside there is one more layer is present, that is endodermal layer, and inside this specific white portion, that is the gut or elementary canal. So you can see here in between mesoderm or in between ectoderm and endoderm, there is no other cavity is present. So for that reason, this is the body plan, or this is the type of the structure which you can see in case of acoelomate organisms. Now if you will be coming to the pseudocoelomate organism who are having false coelom, for them we can see that outer the layer, that this specific layer I am talking about, this layer is exclusively the ectoderm. After that, the mesoderms, you can see they are not present in a continuous manner, rather they are actually formed the pouch like structure. So these are actually the mesoderm, and after that this is the endodermal lining, and within that, inside the endoderm, there is a gut or elementary canal, this is the lumen. So here you can see properly the body cavity which is filled with the fluid, that is surrounded by the mesoderm, but it's not present in a continuous manner, rather they are present in a pouch manner. So for that reason, this is actually the figure of pseudocoelom, and in case of which organisms this coelom can be found, they are known as pseudocoelomate. Now if you will come to the eucoelom or eucoelomate organisms, you can see outer there is a presence of ectoderm. After that, there is a presence of the blue colored layer, this is the outer mesodermal layer. Then there is another small blue color ring like structure or blue color layer, that is the inner mesodermal layer. After that, inside there is another layer, and that layer is commonly known as endodermal layer, and within that there is a presence of a lumen, that is the gut. Here one thing we need to keep it in our mind, that the outer mesodermal layer is commonly known as parietal mesoderm, and inner mesodermal layer is commonly known as visceral mesoderm. And another more important point is that in between these two mesodermal lining, there is a cavity present, and this cavity is commonly known as coelomic cavity. One more point, this outer mesoderm or the parietal mesoderm and the inner mesoderm or visceral mesoderm, these two mesodermal linings are connected with each other by the help of this specific linkage or this specific bridge, and this is commonly known as mesentery. So this is overall the entire eucoelom structure, and in case of which animals you can see this eucoelom, they are commonly known as eucoelomate organisms. So this is overall the diagrams. Please practice these diagrams because these diagrams are very much important. You need to also draw in the exam. Now we are coming to the next point, that is types of germ layers found in animals. We all know germ layer is a group of cells in an embryo that interact with each other as the embryo develops and contribute to the formation of all organs and tissue. So the germ layer is actually the layers, multiple layers which are present in the embryo, and when those specific cells present in the germ layer, they will interact with each other, they will be forming the various organs, all organs, and as well as the tissues in the animal body or in the plant body. So now we need to see whatever the types of germ layers can be found. One is the outer germ layer, that is the ectoderm, that is forming the exoskeleton, we all know, as well as they will be forming the epidermis or skin, they will be forming the brain, they will be forming the nervous system, as well as the sense organs. So all these things, brain, nervous system, sense organ, epidermis, exoskeletal structures, these all will be coming from the outer germ layer, that is ectoderm. Next, there is a middle germ layer present, that is commonly known as mesoderm. Keep it in your mind, this mesoderm is exclusively responsible for producing the various tissues like muscle tissue, like blood tissue, like bones, cartilage, and all these things are commonly made up of mesoderm, as well as they are also producing the outer wall of internal organs, that is commonly produced by the mesoderm. After that, if you will come to the innermost germ layer, that is endoderm, and keep it in your mind, these endoderms are exclusively producing the inner lining of the organs. The organ or the various kinds of system, their inner lining is commonly made up of this endoderm. So these three germ layers are responsible for producing three different portions, three different parts of the various organisms. Now we are coming to the next slide where we can see the types of animal based on the number of germ layers. If you can see, in case of any of the organism, the number of germ layer is 2. That means the ectoderm is present and endoderm is present. There is no mesoderm. So those organisms will be categorized as diploblastic organism. And if you will see that any of the organisms are having 3 germ layers, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, and in distinct manner, those organisms will be considered as a triploblastic organism. So let's see, animals they are having 2 germinal layers, animals they are having 3 germinal layers. Diploblastic organisms are having ectoderm and inner endoderm. In case of them, they are having ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm all. Diploblastic organisms are Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora. These all organisms are diploblastic organisms, but starting from platyhelminths, they are all triploblastic organisms. Keep it in your mind. Here it is written Arthropoda, vertebrate, mollusca, echinodermata, but starting from platyhelminths onwards, they are all triploblastic. Before that, Porifera, Cnidaria, Ctenophora, they are having two distinct germinal layers, ectoderm and endoderm, and in between the ectoderm and endoderm, they are not having mesoderm, but the precursor form of the mesoderm is present, that is a mesenchyme, but they will be considered as the diploblastic organisms. Coming to the next point, that is the metameric segmentation or metamerism. What is metamerism? Metamerism is the phenomenon of having a linear series of body segments or body fragments which are fundamentally similar in structure, and every unit or the segment is considered as the somite or metameria. So metamerism or segmentation is such a phenomenon where the body is subdivided, body of any of the organism is subdivided into multiple small segments which are arranged sequentially. They are all similar looking, and keep it in your mind, they are considered as a somite or metamer. They are commonly known as metamerism or segmentation. Now the point is, based on this metamerism also, we have categorized the organisms into two categories. One category is, that is a true metamerism containing organism. Another organism is who are showing the false metamer. That means that phenomenon is known as pseudo-metamerism. So first, if you will see the difference, you can understand that in case of metamerism, they are having true body segments. In case of pseudo-metamerism, false segments are present. In case of true metamerism, segments are visible both when body is divided internally and externally. So segmentations are properly visible when the body is divided internally and externally in case of true metamerism. But in case of pseudo-metamerism, segmentation is only found externally. Internal segmentation for the pseudo-metamerism cannot be visualized. Next, in case of true metamerism, segments are fused and cannot be separated on will. This is the very important point. The segments which are present in case of true metamer containing organism, those segments are properly fused. If you try to cut or if you want to excise any of the segment, it's damn sure that organism will be getting died. Okay, so if you will try to cut any of the segment of any kind of true metamer containing organism, obviously the organism will die. Why? Because each and every organ, each and every system is passing from mouth to anus, and obviously each and every system passing through each and every metamer. So for that reason, they cannot be properly separated. If you will go for separation, that organism will get killed. That means the segments are interdependent on each other. But in case of pseudo-metamerism, segments are loosely bound. They can be separated on their will, because each and every segment is actually considered as an independent segment. And obviously the segments are not interacting with each other, because within each and every segment, each and every physiological system is present. So for that reason, it is commonly known as pseudo-metamerism also. Now, most distinctive in annelids, keep it in your mind, as true metamerism or the true metamer can be found in case of most distinctive in annelids and also seen in the arthropods and chordates. Keep it in your mind, true metamerism can be found in case of most distinctive annelids and also seen in case of arthropods and chordates. And pseudo-metamerism can be found in case of tapeworm, that means in case of nematoda. Why? Because they are having proglottids, and those proglottids are actually the segments which are independent segments. If you will cut them also, there is no problem, the organism will not die, because they are independent, they are not connected with each other. So this is actually the difference in between the true metamerism and pseudo-metamerism. Now coming for the next point, that is the fate of the blastopore. First of all, we need to know what is blastopore. Blastopore is a specific opening or aperture by which the cavity of the gastrula, an embryonic stage in animal development, that is the gastrula, that communicate with the exterior. That means always keep it in your mind, after blastula, when the embryo will be developing further into gastrula, that gastrula is actually containing one aperture, through which aperture it is communicating with outside. So that specific aperture is commonly known as blastopore. Now, if you can see, this blastopore is forming in case of some of the organisms, the mouth is formed first, then those organisms are commonly known as protostomia. And if in case of any of the organism, the aperture is further forming the anus first and then the mouth, then those organisms are categorized as deuterostomia. So here, keep it in your mind, protostomia means those specific type of organisms for whom the stoma or the mouth will be getting developed from the blastopore at first. so they are commonly known as protostomia. Keep it in your mind, starting from porifera up to mollusca, all are protostomia. Starting from porifera up to mollusca, all are protostomia. But starting from echinodermata and all of the chordates, they are deuterostomia, because they are blastopore is forming the anus first and then the mouth, so that's why they are deuterostomia. Proto means initially or beforehand, and stomia means mouth. So in case of whom the mouth is formed before, they are protostomia. In case of whom the mouth is formed later on, that is deutero. Deutero means posterior or later, and stomia means mouth. That means in case of whom the mouth will be forming last or later, they are deuterostomes. Okay, example I have already told you. Next one is circulatory system. What is actually the circulatory system? Circulatory system is a type of system through which various kinds of materials like respiratory gases, hormones, enzymes, nutrients, they are getting transported to each and every part of our body, and through which system it is actually happening, that specific system is commonly known as circulatory system. Now the point is, or now the question is, this circulatory system is how many types? The circulatory system is of two types. One is open circulatory system, another one is the closed circulatory system. Keep it in your mind, the open circulatory system is a type of circulatory system where the body, inside the body there is no blood vessel. There is some common passages are present, those are known as lacuna or sinuses, and through those lacuna or sinuses the blood is actually flowing. And keep it in your mind, in case of open circulatory system containing organisms, true heart is not present, so for that reason blood pumping cannot happen that much how it is found in case of closed circulatory system. So most all of the invertebrates, including porifera to echinodermata, mostly they are all open circulatory system. Only keep it in your mind, the Annelida, that is actually showing the closed circulatory system, because if you see the earthworm, they are having closed circulatory system, all other invertebrates all are open circulatory system. But if you go for the vertebrates or chordate category, they are all again closed circulatory system showing. So in case of closed circulatory system, what is actually told? Closed circulatory system is a type of circulatory system where the blood or the body fluid is closed or enclosed within the blood vessel, and they are always passing through the blood vessel, and the heart is there for pumping the blood, and capillary network is also there, which is actually present in the junction of the artery and vein. So this is actually the closed circulatory system, which is only found in case of Annelida, that is an invertebrate, and in all vertebrates also this kind of circulatory system can be found. Now coming to the next slide, where it is discussed regarding the notochord. Notochord is actually the flexible rod-shaped body found in the embryos of all chordates, derived from the mesoderm. Keep it in your mind. So it is always derived from the mesoderm, and it is flexible rod-shaped structure, and it is found in the dorsal side of all embryo, obviously of the chordates. So this notochord serve as the basis for axial skeleton. Keep it in your mind, this notochord is exclusively responsible for producing the backbone. In case of us, in case of vertebrate organisms, this notochord is actually getting modified to vertebral column, and that vertebral column is present in case of modified organism. Now the point in case of it induces the overlying ectoderm to differentiate to neuroectoderm and form the neural plate. Keep it in your mind, this notochord can be further modified into neuroectoderm structure, as well as they can be forming the neural plate also. Now, based on the presence or absence, if we categorize the notochord, then based on the notochord presence or absence, obviously we can categorize the organisms into two categories. One is non-chordate, that means who are not having any kind of notochord. They are all non-chordates or invertebrates, and in case of which organisms the notochord is present, they are commonly known as chordate. So this is the categorization of the organisms based on the presence or absence of the notochord. Next is the slide where we can see actually the classification of organisms based on the fundamental features. What are the fundamental features or basic features? Actually, if we classify the organisms, we can see there are three fundamental features or basic features. One is level of body organization, second one is symmetry, and third one is body cavity or coelom. So here we can see the entire animal kingdom or Animalia. They are first of all segregated into two levels. One is cellular level, another one is tissue, organ or organ system level of organization. So here within the cellular level only the Porifera phylum is present, so that's why that has been segregated initially. Now remaining all phylums have been kept within the tissue or organ system level of organization. Now these organisms who are present within this entire category, they are further divided based on the symmetry. So when we are dividing them along based on the symmetry, obviously we are getting radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. So keep it in your mind, Cnidaria, that is Coelenterate organism, and Ctenophora organisms, they are all showing radial symmetry. So for that reason they have been kept within the radial symmetry. And another type of the symmetry is bilateral symmetry. That means when the organism can be segregated into two equal halves along the longitudinal plane. So due to presence of the bilateral symmetry, we have again made another category within the bilateral symmetry. Except Porifera, Cnidaria and Ctenophora, other phylums are present. Now bilateral symmetry has been categorized based on without body cavity, that means acoelomate, that means which organisms they are not having the coelom. So they are actually told as the platyhelminths. Next, there is actually the body cavity or the coelom if it is present, but that is the false coelom. There will be the another category that is known as pseudocoelomate organisms, that is aschelminths or nematoda. And the last category has been made who are having true coelom. So those are commonly known as eucoelomate. So within this, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and all chordate organisms are belonging. So based on these three features, based on the level of body organization, symmetry and coelom, we have categorized the animal kingdom into multiple phylums. Okay, so I think this classification of organism, it is also in your NCERT book. You can see your NCERT book here, that is there it is given. And if it will be asked in the exam, please keep it in your mind that based on the which fundamental features the animal kingdom is classified, obviously your answer will be that based on level of body organization, based on the symmetry and based on coelom. Based on these three fundamental features, animal kingdom is classified into multiple phylums. And this classification please go through properly, because maybe the question will be coming regarding this. You need to draw this entire classification mechanism, classification diagram in your copy. Coming to the next one, that is the phylum Porifera. That means the basis of classification we have already finished. Now we will be entering within one by one phylum, and we will be discussing about their general features, their special features, as well as we need to see the diagrams, some of the photograph of the animals who are actually belonging from various phylums. So let's start with the phylum Porifera. First of all, the meaning of the Porifera we need to know. Pori means the word has come from the pore, that is the aperture, and fera word has come from the ferein. Ferein means bearing, that means pore bearing animals are all belonging from this specific phylum, that is Porifera. Now whatever the basic characteristic features are present. First, habitat, they are aquatic, exclusively they are marine, few are present, they are freshwater. What is the level of body organization? Already I have told, they are actually showing cellular level of body organization. Body planning is obviously the cellular aggregate, because the cells are only present, they are not communicating with each other, only the mass of cells are only present. Germ layer, if you see, obviously they are having two germ layers, that's why it is known as diploblastic. But keep it in your mind, instead of the mesoderm, they are having a germ layer that is known as mesenchyme. So the mesenchyme is actually the intermediate germ layer in between ectoderm and endoderm. They are having no symmetry, that means they are asymmetrical organisms. They are having no coelom, that means they are acoelomate organism. They are having no segmentation, that means no metametic segmentation can be found, asegmented organism. Circulation, it is obviously the canal system, because they don't have any kind of the body fluid. Through their body water is passing, and that process of passing or that system of passing is commonly known as canal system. So canal system is only there for passing of the water, and that is the circulatory mechanism. Now we have come to the next slide, where we can see the fate of the blastopore. That means the blastopore is forming the mouth here, so that's why they are exclusively protostomia. Respiration, that is obviously happening through the canal system, because when the water is entering through some apertures present on their body surface, which are commonly known as ostia, obviously the water is carrying the respiratory gases. So due to carrying the respiratory gases, this is, keep it in your mind, this canal system is actually responsible for the respiration. Next one, excretion, keep it in your mind, the excretion is actually also done by the canal system, because when the water is moving out or coming out from the organism's body through the osculum, on that time excreted materials are also get secreted. And keep it in your mind, these organisms are exclusively ammonotelic, because they are releasing ammonia in the water. Okay, nutrition exclusively holozoic, because they are engulfing the food material. Sexual reproduction, they are producing ovum and sperm. They can also asexually reproduce, and that can be performed by the process of budding or branching process, as well as by the process of fragmentation. Sexual dimorphism, can be found. They are hermaphrodite organism, that means bisexual, male and female reproductive organs or structures are present within the same body, so that's why they are hermaphrodite. Next one, nervous system. Nervous system is totally absent for these specific organisms. Next, special features of porifera. If you see the special feature, they are having the germ layers, and out of that germ layer, outer layer is commonly known as pinacoderm layer, which is made up of pinacocyte cells. They are having choanoderm layer also, that is made up of choanocyte cells, and in between pinacoderm and choanoderm they are having mesenchymal cells. So they are having two layers, ectoderm, that is a pinacoderm, and endoderm, that is choanoderm. And pinacoderm is made up of pinacocyte cells. Keep it in your mind, these pinacocyte cells are containing some needle-like, sharp needle-like structure. So that is actually considered as an exoskeletal structure for the sponges. And choanoderm is exclusively made up of choanocyte cells, which cells are actually present inside the body of the sponges, and these cells are exclusively responsible for the respiration, for nutrition, for drawing the water inside the body of the sponges, as well as for propulsing out the water from the sponges' bodies. These all functions are controlled by the choanocyte cells present in the choanoderm. Keep it in your mind, they are having small pores or aperture on their body, and those are commonly known as ostia. They are having also the larger pores on their apical portion of the body, that is commonly known as osculum. Keep it in your mind, through the ostia, the water as well as with the other materials, they are entering within the sponge's body, and through the osculum, excreted material, respiratory gases like carbon dioxide, they are also releasing through osculum. Keep it in your mind, they are having centrally located body cavity, that is commonly known as spongocyl. Spongo means sponge and cyl means cavity, so they are having within the sponge. Endoskeleton. Keep it in your mind, their endoskeleton can be spicule or spongin fiber. Spicule means these are also some specific needle-like structures which are present inside their body surface, so for that reason these are considered as an endoskeleton. Keep it in your mind, these endoskeleton are commonly made up of calcium carbonate, that's why they are known as calcareous spicules. And keep it in your mind, this is made up of calcium carbonate. They are having another type of the spicule, that is the siliceous spicule, and keep it in your mind, they are made up of the silicic acid also. Next, they are having spongin fiber as an endoskeleton, and this is spongin is a such kind of the protein, or it is actually made up of organic substances. So these are the endoskeleton which are commonly found in case of porifera. And exoskeleton, already I have told, those are made up of pinacocyte cells and so many other needle-like cells which are present in the pinacoderm layer. Coming to the next slide. In this slide actually we will be getting aware with various kinds of sponges. This is the Sycon or Scypha, you can see. This is the spongilla or freshwater sponge, which is commonly present under the pond also, pond water also. This is the Euspongia or the bath sponge, which is commonly used for the bathing purpose. Next one, so after these specific sponge types, we have come to the next phylum, and that is the phylum Cnidaria. So let's see what about the phylum Cnidaria we need to know. Keep it in your mind, Cnidaria, this word has actually come from the word knide, K-N-I-D-E. Knide means stinging. So stinging cell, when it is present in any of the phylum, so or in case of those organisms, those are commonly known as Cnidarian organisms who are containing stinging cells. Keep it in your mind, these organisms can be also called as Coelenterata because their body is containing coelenteron or cavity. Cil means cavity, enteron means intestine. That means intestine within the cavity, they are present in case of these organisms. Okay. Now we are coming to the general features of these organisms. First of all, their habitat is marine, exclusively marine. Freshwater is absent. Very few are present. As an example, Hydra. Germ layer, they are having two germ layer. That's why they are diploblastic. But keep it in your mind, in the place of mesenchyme, which is present in the porifera, here the mesoglia is present. Level of body organization, obviously tissue level of body organization can be found. Symmetry, they are obviously showing the radial symmetry. That radial symmetry can be tetramerous radial symmetry. That means it can be when the body can be divided into equal halves, and if the halves or if the plane will be passing through the radius. And tetramerous radial symmetry means if their body can be equally divided into 4 equal halves, or their body can be divided equally into 6 equal halves. So that is commonly known as tetramerous and hexamerous radial symmetry. Body plan, exclusively blind sac body plan, because they are having a single pore that can be used as a mouse, as a anus also. Ectoderm they are having, that is called as epidermis. Endoderm is present, that is known as gastrodermis, and inner cavity is present, that is known as gastrovascular cavity. In case of sponge, which is known as spongocyl. In case of this Cnidaria or Coelenterata, that is only known as gastrovascular cavity or coelenteron. Keep it in your mind, the mesoglia is present instead of the mesenchyme. Keep another next important point is that they are having the stinging cells, which are commonly known as nidoblast cells, and these cells are exclusively having a white-like structure, white-like thread-like structure. That white-like or thread-like structure which is present, that is introducing hypnotoxin within the prey's body, and due to introduction of the hypnotoxin within prey's body, that prey will get died. So this is the main function of the stinging cell. With that also, stinging cell has another function. They can capture the prey. They can even help the organisms to attach with the substratum or the surface. So for that reason, the stinging cell, that nidoblast cell, is present in case of cnidarian organisms. Nutrition, exclusively holozoic nutrition. They are engulfing the food. Digestion can be intracellular, that means within cell, or it can be extracellular, that means out of the cell. Respiration, exclusively through their body surface, because they are present under the water, so through the body surface the exchange of the gases can take place. Excretion, that is also happening by the help of body surface, and keep it in your mind, they are present under the water, so for that reason only one kind of excretory material can be produced by them, that is ammonia. That's why they are ammonotelic. Coming to the next general feature, that is a life cycle. Keep it in your mind, they are having asexual stage as well as sexual stage throughout their entire life. Asexual stage is exclusively called as polyp. Keep it in your mind, in this specific stage the organism is attached with the substratum. So for that reason they are commonly known as polyp stage. Sessile flower like structure, these are. Another stage is the sexual stage, that is the medusa stage. This is commonly looking like an umbrella shaped structure, and this umbrella is actually floating into the water. Okay. Asexual stage, that is a polyp stage, that is attached with the substratum. They can't move, they can't float. But the sexual stage, that is a medusa, they can float into the water, and they are free swimming stage. Keep it in your mind, this asexual and sexual stage, that is a polyp and medusa, they are coming in an alternative manner, that is commonly known as alternation of generation or metagenesis. Another very important point is they are having a type of larva, that is planula larva. Keep it in your mind, they are showing more than one form in their life cycle. That's why that is a polyp also they are showing, medusa also they are showing. So for that reason this phenomenon is commonly known as polymorphism, because polymorphism means showing various kind of morph or form. And the next important point is example, that is Hydra, Physalia, Aurelia, sea anemone. These are the examples of cnidaria, or rather you can say Coelenterata. Now we are coming to the specific type of the cell which is present in case of this cnidarian organism or Coelenterata organism, that is nidoblast. Keep it in your mind, nidoblast is such kind of stinging cell within which the sting which is present, that is the nidocyte. And keep it in your mind, this nidocyte is containing nidocyst that can be delivered to the various organisms who are actually passing by these organisms. So when they are actually throwing this white-like or thread-like structure, obviously this thread-like or white-like structure is responsible for capturing the prey. After that, that prey will be just pulled towards the organism. Organism means I am talking about to the cnidarian organism, and after that by the apical portion of those specific type of sting, the toxin will be introduced within the prey's body. Okay. So when it will be introduced within the prey's body, after a certain time it will be get paralyzed, or it can be also get died. Okay. So this specific nidoblast cell or nematocyst or nidocyte, whatever you want to say, this specific type of cell is exclusively responsible for defense purpose against predator. It is responsible for capturing the prey. This can be used, as well as it can be used also for anchorage with the substratum. Okay, so this is the nidoblast cell structure when it is present in the coiled position, and when the nidoblast cell is just get exposed, on that time you can see there is a presence of the sting-like structure. These are the sting-like structures by which they are actually introducing the toxin within the animal's body, and at the apical portion there is a white-like or thread-like structure by which they are capturing the prey. Okay, or capturing any of the substratum. So this is the entire nidoblast cell. Now we are going to the next slide where we will be just get aware with the various kind of organism. This is the Physalia. It can be also called as Portuguese man of war, because this is actually looking like the cap of the Napoleon Bonaparte, what he used to wear during the time of battle. This is the Adamsia, which is commonly known as sea anemone, and within that one fish we can see, that is the clownfish. Next there is another specific type of organism that is looking like a pen. They are sea, that's why they are known as sea pen, or they can be called as Pennatula. Next there is another type of organism which is looking like a fan. So this specific type of sea fan which is found, that is commonly scientific name is Gorgonia sp. Okay. Next we are coming to the Mindrina. Mindrina is a type of the brain coral which is present under the water. This is the Ovelia, which can be also called as sea fart. So many tentacles are also present here. Okay, and this is the polyform. Keep it in your mind. Jellyfish is actually there from where the various tentacles are hanging, and at the apical portion of the tentacles there is a presence of the nidoplast cell through which the prey can be captured, or rather you can say by the which the prey can be get paralyzed by expression of the hypnotoxin. So in case of jellyfish, keep it in your mind, they are present in the medusa stage because they are umbrella like and they are just floating into the water. Now coming to the hydra. If you see the hydra, you can see this is the polyp stage and they are present in the fresh water also, and from the side the new bud is forming, and from the new bud the new hydra also will be originated. So this is overall the structure of the hydra, and these are the tentacles. Now we are coming to the next type of the phylum, and that is the phylum Ctenophora. In case of phylum Ctenophora, we are having first the general features. Ctenophora word, if you see the meaning properly, Ctenos means comb and pherein means bearing. That means comb like or comblet like structure bearing organisms are commonly known as Ctenophora. Okay, so they are tin containing or Ctenos containing comblet like structure containing that organism who are actually called as or categorized under the Ctenophora. First, let's see the basic features or the general features. Habitat exclusively marine. Body organization, that is the blind tissue level of body organization. Body plan, that is a blind sac body plan. Symmetry, obviously biradial symmetry, obviously from because they are actually cylindrical shaped or round shaped organisms. Coelom is exclusively they are acoelomate. Germ layer, they are having diploblastic. Keep it in your mind, in the place of mesenchyme, mesoblast is present. Segmentation cannot be found. Fate of the blastopore, that is protostomia because it is forming the mouth. Circulatory system, that is open circulatory system and that is through the water. Respiratory system, that is taking place through the body surface. Next, excretory system, that is also taking place through the body surface, and the excretory material is ammonia. And nervous system is exclusively diffuse, that means the nerve ganglions are actually present in diffuse condition throughout the body. Digestion, that is intercellular, that means digestion is taking place outside of the cell, that means within the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is complete starting from the mouth to the anus. This complete alimentary canal is present. Sexual form, exclusively this sexual form is bisexual. Development is indirect, that means no larval form will be produced in this specific developmental process. So this is example Cytipede larva. Reproduction is sexual type of reproduction showing organism. Fertilization is exclusively external fertilization because it is not happening within the female body, it is happening outside the female body. Next, special features are also present, they are commonly known as sea walnut or comb jellies. And next one, the shape, they are having the shape that is a spherical or umbrella shaped. They are having the tentacles also, that is present or absent. In case of some of the organism they are present, some of the organism they are absent. Locomotory organ, that is containing comb plates, that is 8 teeth containing structure, locomotory organ. Nidoblast cells, they are absent properly, and in case of in the place of nidoblast cell they are having the holoblast cell. And special property is the bioluminescence, that means during the night time they can emit the light, they can show the fluorescence. So for that reason this is commonly known as bioluminescence. You can see two organisms, that is Pleurobrachia and Ctenoplana. These are the very rare organisms under this Ctenophora. We all know that these Ctenophora organisms are very rare, very few in the number, and they are present in the depth of the sea. Okay, so up to the Ctenophora we have completed in this specific video. In the next video we will be starting from the phylum Platyhelminths and we will be moving forward. I think this entire video you have listened very carefully, and I think you have understood each and every point very clearly, and you have enjoyed this video a lot, I think. So thank you everyone, thanks a lot for seeing this video.